The tension for the siege on Minas Tirith is so highly anticipated, that the filmmakers have completely satisfied every expectation to how epic it could have been. The scope is just extraordinary. The Battle of the Pelennor Fields is so huge in the book, yet it has been fully realized in Jackson's film. The final stand at the Black Gate is so emotionally involved, it's hard to think that any action could top what was previously seen, but it is done so with vision beyond imagination. Howard Shore's music is also some of the most impressive and beautiful orchestration ever done for film. Besting its predecessors, The Return of the King's score is pure genius. From the new theme for Gondor, to the moving into the West, Shore's composition sweeps and soars. Now that each of the three films' complete recordings have been released, I strongly urge a fan of the music to buy them, because they really are the best of the best. The acting even surpasses the first two, having the evolution of each character add to the dramatic effect, be it the loss of a life, or the triumph over evil. Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn is like a godsend. Sean Astin steals nearly every scene he is in as Sam, making us hope he helps Frodo get rid of the Ring of Power. Once again, Andy Serkis provides a stirring and great performance as Smeagol Gollum. The full weight of the ring is realized in this film, and Elijah Wood makes us see his struggle like the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers only hinted upon. Overall, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King is remarkable. The battles are amazing, never making the film drag, and always heightening the tension. From the acting to the sound editing, this film delivers what it promises, and that is the supreme motion picture of our lifetime, and many more years to come. Just as Peter Jackson felt that LOTR had to be made as one large, three-part, cinematic piece, I decided to write my IMDb review of all three movies as a single, multi-part essay. Click on my screen name and hit chronological to view my reviews of The Fellowship and Two Towers. I make no guarantees about the quality and consistency of my review, but I do guarantee that these three films offer very high and very consistent quality from beginning to end. The acting, cinematography, art, and direction simply cannot be beat. Which of the three movies is my favorite varies with my mood, and the same holds true for Tolkien's books. When I am immersed in the story, ROTK is my favorite. When I simply want to have fun with the whole experience, I love Fellowship. And when I want something intense, evocative and thoughtful, I go for The Two Towers. Frodo, Sam and Gollum are on their way to Mount Doom, and their bodies, nerves, and relationships have borne the greatest burden on Middle-earth. The rest of the Fellowship is rallying to the defense of Minas Tirith, and preparing for even more deadly battles to come. The heroism and romance are incredibly moving. When was the last time you saw an entire audience leaving a theater after a fantasy movie rubbing their eyes? The sets are breathtaking, even more so than in the previous two films. The casting and acting are superb. The film delivers at every level and is the jewel in the trilogy's well-earned crown. Return of the King offers a resolution of all of the major story arcs in LOTR. As with the classic Tolkien trilogy, however, you may be able to predict some of what will occur, but never all of it, and you'll never guess how you will get there. The same fatalistic and paradoxically unpredictable feeling of Tolkien's grand plots is present throughout ROTK especially. The major theme in ROTK, however, is the varied ways and means of heroism, both intentional and unintended, and Tolkien's examination of sacrifice and heroism is as inspiring as it is subtle. Amazingly, it all comes through in the films. Even more than the previous two films, Jackson and his writers took liberties with the storyline. Like the others, however, this serves the film better than simple adaptation from one medium to another. By reordering some of the chronology and adding scenes and plot devices which are consistent with Tolkien's world and characterizations, the filmmakers actually do a better job of preserving the concepts and themes of the story than they could have with a pure adaptation. The lengthy epilogue in Tolkien's book is greatly reduced, reordered, and somewhat changed in order to work in the film. Some parts actually appear very early in ROTK. And some aspects of Tolkien's epilogue are disclosed in The Two Towers, though not directly depicted. But all of the really important components of the epilogue are, at least strongly implied if not well illustrated in ROTK. Feeling weary and battle-worn, I have just staggered out of the cinema after 3.5 hours of special effects fighting other special effects creatures. I had taken refreshments but barely touched them, probably because the film I had watched is one of the most mesmerizing, evocative, inspiring, and awesome I have witnessed of any big adventure epic. Not to mention superb ensemble acting, moods that shift effortlessly between medieval battles of colossal proportions and convincing bloodshed, beauty and wonderment, fantastic natural and artificial landscapes and cityscapes, touches of humor, well-paced dramatic tension, and human bonding that is moving enough to just let you dry your eyes as the unassuming credits flash by. Return of the King is the greatest of the Tolkien trilogy by New Zealand director Peter Jackson. Although I've seen the other two and read the book, I felt it would also stand alone well enough for people who hadn't done either. The storytelling is much more professional than the first one, which may be labored to introduce so much information, or the second one, which has little let up from the tension of long battle scenes. In Return of the King, there is an emotional sting at the start, as we watch the transformation of Gollum from warm, fun-loving guy to murderous, mutated wretch. The movie then moves deftly between different segments of the story. The sadness of the lovely soft focus Liv Tyler is fated Arwen whose travails and woman's love succeeds in having the sword that was broken mended. The comradeship of Sam and Frodo, Sean Astin and Elijah Wood that is tested to the limits, the strong commanding presence of Gandalf, Ian McKellen, who keeps an eye on things whilst turning in an Oscar-worthy performance, the ingenious and very varied battle scenes, and the mythical cities of that rise out of the screen and provide key plot elements. This is a fairy story of human endeavor, the defeating of power cliques and the triumph of the human spirit that could almost be compared to Wagner's Gotterdammerung. It is a fairy story without any sugary sweetness, a fairy story the likes of which hasn't been told so well before, and is even unlikely to be done so well in the future. The haunting scream of the Nazgul stays with you, the physical attractions are not airbrushed, and the battles are about as far from pantomime characters waving wooden swords as you can get. The ingenious monsters keep you on the edge of your seat. The whole narrative maintains the spirit, if not archival, detailed accuracy, of the original and makes you want to read the book, or read the book again. The worst I can say about it is that it is maybe a tad long, but not that you'd notice.